I moved to LA at 14 years old because I went to this acting camp and they said, okay, if you want to be an actor, you have to be in LA. I ended up booking the music video and having to go cry. It fixes the Barbie doll for me and it's this magical moment. People keep warning me about the New York heat too. They're like, okay, get ready for New York summer. It's going to be muggy and humid. Nothing can be as bad as the Arizona summer. And my character, Molly, has to face the same evils that Frank and Penelope do, and then I end up having to fight for my life.
Welcome to Amigospc. If you were looking for a podcast with high standards and an appreciation for the finer things in life, like water polo, ballet, equestrian riding, cricket, and trips to the countryside, you're in the wrong place. If you're looking for a podcast that celebrates drinking, random thoughts, wacky conspiracies, memes, crypto, cinema, and a lot of other things that don't really make any sense, then you're in the right place. This is Amigospc, and here are your hosts, Mark.
Hey, you! Yeah, you! You're hearing this for a reason. You haven't subscribed to the Amigos membership on Supercash yet. For as little as $5, you can get access to our feed with no ads, and exclusive membership discounts and merch.
Jump up to our $30 tier and get everything plus direct access to us via our Discord channel, live Amigo AMAs, quarterly giveaways, and crypto merch. For $1 a day or less, you can support an Amigo out.
Amigos, back at it again. Today's episode is brought to you by Coastal Crypto. Coastal Crypto provides a mining service and a hosting service for those that are looking into starting and or expanding their current crypto mining farm. Make sure you go out to coastalcryptomining.com to go check that out. Today's guest is a actor, Sydney Scotia, similar like Nova Scotia, is that correct?
Yes, spot on.
All right. I was actually kind of worried about saying the last name because I am terrible at names.
No, you nailed it.
I noticed that we have a little bit of a connection, that you actually stayed here in Arizona, a Scottsdale area, for quite a while growing up. Can you tell me a little bit about that, and then a little bit about yourself too?
Yeah, well, actually, it's crazy that you say like Nova Scotia because most people say Sydney Scotia, but my parents are from Nova Scotia, a town called Sydney, Nova Scotia, and so that's why that's my name. But yeah, I grew up in Arizona from a very young age, and then until I was 13, 14, I lived in Scottsdale, and so I know where you are. I've been all over Arizona, dance classes on the other end of town, dance competitions in Gilbert, Chandler, Mesa. So I loved growing up in Arizona, and that was a blast. But right after Arizona, I moved to LA at 14 years old because I went to this acting camp and they said, okay, if you want to be an actor, you have to be in LA. That was obviously pre-pandemic, before self-tape auditions, but that was in the days of going in the room, old school. And so I moved to LA, and then from there did back and forth to Arizona. In Arizona, I went back and forth for so long, from Vancouver and LA up until my parents ended up moving. Okay.
And so yeah, they say that you had to be in the scene to get the spots, right? Is basically what they're saying.
Yeah.
What was the difference in lifestyle between, especially having to commute back and forth constantly?
It was so different living in LA versus Arizona. LA was just crazy busy. We would drive 6 hours, and we packed up everything in the car, moved over to Studio City, where right in the thick of it, and it was just a whole new world. It was something that I could have only dreamed of when I was little. I had a Tumblr page when I was younger, and I used to re-pin. What is it on Tumblr? It's not retweet. It's been so long. But I used to repost photos of LA and the palm trees and Venice Beach, and then moving there. It was just sensory overload, and going to all these acting classes, meeting all these people, so many new people. It was just completely different worlds. But I loved both of them, and it was definitely a big shift because I was used to going to school every day and having friends that I saw every day and getting to see my dance friends every day, to being in LA where I was homeschooled and sitting at a computer doing my school, and then just really grinding at acting classes and workshops. So it was just a complete 180, but it was something that I wanted to do and was so ready for and so grateful to get the opportunity to do, and so glad that my parents supported me in doing that, because I mean, I would not have been able to do it and been able to work as much as I have without their support and letting me move to LA at 14.
What I always like to ask and discover with people that are in the acting scene is what did it? Like, it seems like you started at a young age. Where did the fire start to where it was like, you know what, this is what I want to do?
Well, I started dancing at age 7. I was in a studio in Scottsdale, and we would do competitions every weekend.
Okay.
And I would have to learn these dances, and I started a little bit later than the rest of the girls. All those girls started when they were 3 years old. They were put in dance classes. So I had to really work my way up to get to their level. And so I was at dance 6 hours a day after school, and then 6 hours on Saturday and Sunday.
Oh wow, really grinding.
I was always very determined, because whenever I put my mind to something, I just wanted to be good at it and compete with the girls who were already really great. And so that, I think, fueled my passion for performing, because we were at dance competitions every weekend and on a stage in front of a bunch of people. So I always loved getting up on stage. But then around 10 years old, I started an acting class because my brother was taking this acting class at my dance studio, and I was a little bit more shy back then, so I would just go and watch and see what he was doing, and then I'd love it. I thought it was so fun. They were doing comedy scenes. It was so funny. So I was like, okay, I want to do that. And then the opportunity came up through my dance studio for a music video audition, and I ended up booking the music video and having to go cry over a broken Barbie doll in this music video. And then the singer comes up and it fixes the Barbie doll for me, and it's this magical moment. And I just remember having the best time on set, and crying over this Barbie doll was like my passion for that 2 weeks. I was practicing crying over this Barbie doll, and that kind of started it. So dance and performing, but then also that acting class and getting that first little taste of being on set kind of fueled that fire.
Okay. So then you're in LA. It seems like you had made the move back to Canada. Well, you've been all over the place and everything like that, but you're now in Canada, correct? Or somewhere along those lines? Well, you said New York initially, but...
Yeah, well, okay, I'm kind of all over the place. It's so weird not being back in Arizona, like going back to visit my family and not being in Scottsdale is just so weird to me. But I moved to Vancouver when I was 15 because I booked a show that shot in Vancouver, and would go back and forth from LA and Arizona. But a couple years ago, I decided I wanted to make the move up to Vancouver. And so that's where I am a lot of the time when I'm not in New York now. And I love Vancouver. Oh my gosh, it's so great. And there's just a big acting scene up there. It's just a great city. It's beautiful.
Okay. Yeah, I've interviewed a couple people that are in the Vancouver area. It seems like that scene is not, I don't want to say like it's the Hollywood type scene, but it does seem like there's a lot of production going on. Even during the COVID era, it seemed like there's a lot of production going on in the Vancouver scene.
Yeah, I kind of thought too, why don't I take advantage of being a dual citizen? Since my parents are from Nova Scotia, I got my citizenship and always loved Canada, so I figured why not give it a go. And I also have so many great friends in Vancouver that it just made sense.
Yeah. So you had brought up, post-pandemic with LA, and then pandemic did happen.
Mm-hmm.
How did that affect you and your career and everything like that?
Well, that was really interesting because I was supposed to shoot something in LA that March 2020. And the day before is when LA went into lockdown. And so it got canceled the day before. So packed up a suitcase, drove back to Arizona, and figured, okay, I'll be there for a couple months maybe. But then ended up staying there for 6 months. And so I was just in Arizona. I was doing schoolwork because I'm getting my business degree from ASU, actually. So I still have ties to Arizona, but I was just doing my degree and auditions here and there when they came up, but it was pretty slow right at the pandemic because we were all wondering what is going on. So my place in LA was just sitting there, and that kind of did spur my move a little bit to Vancouver. I think in a way the pandemic happening gave me this new perspective and courage to go, let's do something totally different, and let's actually move to Vancouver, because I spent so much time there and already had people there and my agent there and a home base. So I figured, okay, let's go, let's do it. But it definitely, I think it was slow for most actors, most creatives, most people during the pandemic. We could do things from home. We could do things like this.
Yeah.
But my friends had a podcast in Vancouver that they were doing at the time, and I went on to do their podcast during the pandemic, and remember being like, okay, I guess everything's gonna be on Zoom now.
Yeah, it seems like for the exception of like the comedy scene, people did really grasp the Zoom atmosphere, I guess, with just communicating and have relationships with people basically via Zoom.
Which is amazing that we can chat right now from Arizona and New York in different time zones and be able to do a podcast.
Yeah, right. One of the joys of podcasting I like is just meeting interesting people, different varieties. I honestly wouldn't be able to do this without podcasting. I'm sure I could go out and meet people, in Scottsdale, Chandler, Arizona, all of that fun stuff. But there is a thing, especially this time of year, that makes that kind of not tolerable. It's definitely our summers, and it is a million degrees right now. So
that is one thing. That's one thing I don't miss.
The heat.
Yeah, because I just remember being a kid there and wanting to do anything during the summer, and it was brutal. Yeah, you can't even really go outside.
No, I mean with my kids, we have to, we're going to like the air parks or something with trampolines. It's all indoors where air conditioning is. But the other 9 months of the year, though, we're outside enjoying the weather for sure.
Yeah. Well, 9 months. I feel like the summer. Okay, so it's probably 110 there right now, 105.
Yeah, it's pretty close. Yeah, actually, I think it is 105.
Oh my gosh, did I call it?
I think you did. I have to look, but yeah, it's hot today.
Yeah, May. I felt like May was always the month of the year that it's like, okay, don't come visit me in May. Come in October, maybe?
Yeah.
October is when you can start coming to Arizona. I also remember being a kid and dressing up as Trinity from The Matrix for Halloween and wearing a trench coat and absolutely dying. And being out with all my friends, trying to trick-or-treat and have a good time, and I was really committed to this costume. And just this black trench coat and sweating. And it was October. It was the end of October. It's just ridiculous to me.
I know. Every year we take the kids trick-or-treating. It's got to be, even at night, the 85 maybe. And it's just funny. We're walking around, shorts, t-shirt, kids are all costumed up. 2 blocks in, the costume's completely drenched.
Yeah.
From them running from house to house, trying to get all of it. We're just trying to hang on.
Yeah.
I mean, 85 is not terrible. I'm sure people will be like, oh, that's not even hot. But when you're in a costume, like you said, you know, Trinity, it gets pretty bad.
It is, yeah, it's brutal. I feel like only Arizonans can really relate to this.
Yeah.
It is a special kind of heat.
Yeah. It's dry heat, they keep saying.
I know, they always say it's dry heat. Like, yeah, it's like a hair dryer constantly blowing on you. If you're lucky and there's wind. If you're lucky. And then if not, it's just one massive, just sweltering heat. Yeah, people keep warning me about the New York heat too. They were like, okay, get ready for New York summer. It's going to be muggy and humid. Nothing can be as bad as the Arizona summer.
Yeah, I originally grew up in Wisconsin, so I know of like the humidity, which is not great. It's not fun, especially when it does get hot. But I try to explain the heat to family back there. They don't understand, and they've never been here during the summer to like really experience it, so they just don't get it.
Yeah,
I would assume even like moving to the LA area, I'm sure like getting close to the beach, it's nice, but like in the city, the valley, like it's as bad as it could be here sometimes. But then moving up to Vancouver, I'm sure it was probably a real breath of fresh air, at least summer-wise, getting out of the heat, right?
Oh yeah. Moving to LA, I think I moved to the valley, and I landed in the valley because it reminded me of Arizona and the suburbs a little bit, that Scottsdale / Gilbert feel. But it was pretty brutal in the valley as well. Still not like Arizona because you could escape it and go to Santa Monica in 30 minutes and be at the beach. But Vancouver is so nice. You step off the plane, and I don't know why, I think I have this rose-colored glasses version of Vancouver in my mind where step off the plane, everybody's so jolly and nice, and the air is so fresh, and there's like snow-capped mountains. But it is really, really nice. Although, I will say this year has been a little bit tough with getting so much rain. We get a lot of rain. It is not just a stereotype.
Yeah, I can only imagine.
I'm so excited for summer. Everybody's talking about traveling.
Yeah.
And well, why don't you guys go somewhere during the summer? And nobody wants to go anywhere during the summer in Vancouver because it's just the best. It's
so nice out.
Yeah.
They'd rather leave during the winter time, which Arizona experiences that. I think the brunt end, pre or post COVID, with the snowbirds.
Yeah.
So tell me a little bit about this, the movie that's coming out. From what I read, it sounds like you guys are heading to or getting nominated for awards, correct?
For which project?
Frank and Penelope.
Yes. I'm super excited for Frank and Penelope. I love how I'm like, which project are you talking about?
Well, I mean, you have a catalog of work, so I can only imagine.
No, but that is the topic of conversation right now. They're currently at Cannes right now with their distribution company, and that's super exciting. They're distributing it there, and I'm just a little bit jealous seeing all their pictures in Cannes on boats and at the festival, because I went to Cannes a few years ago with a short film, and it was the best time. And they also just went to the Riviera International Film Festival.
Okay.
And did a screening, their world premiere there. And we're going to screen in theaters on June 3rd. And Frank and Penelope is just a really, really fun movie. It's about this couple, Frank and Penelope, who meet each other at the lowest point in their lives, and then they decide to spontaneously go on the run from all of their troubles, and then they just find more serious troubles along the way. And my character, Molly, has to face the same evils that Frank and Penelope do, and then I end up having to fight for my life. And Kevin Dillion plays my dad, which I always think is pretty cool. I like bringing that up because Kevin Dillon's awesome. But yeah, it's a really, really fun movie. There's something for everybody in it. It's suspenseful, it's thrilling, it's funny at times. There's some blood. And it was a really gritty, challenging role for me, which I hadn't gotten to do before. and it's my first R-rated movie, so I'm pretty stoked.
I mean, you were in The Mermaid's Tale.
Yes.
So that is a vast difference from rating categories, for sure.
Oh yeah, Mermaid's Tale is like, could not be more different from Frank and Penelope, but both equally as fun, in my opinion.
Now, you mentioned gritty, right? Like,
yeah.
What do you mean by that? Like, so is it just like the movie comes off as like really tough, or like I said, what do you mean by gritty with the type of the way that this movie is?
You know, there's the writing and just the setting in general are more gritty. It's not trying to be tough, but you know, there's some guns, there's some blood, there's some language, you know. It's more, I don't want to say grounded in reality, because it is actually, I hope this reality will never be like this, but it is grounded in a way, and follows this couple just into this spiral in a terrible town, and you come across these people that are called sin eaters, and so they're doing what they think is good work by eating people's sins. And I don't want to get too much into it because it'll totally give away the movie.
It almost sounds like spoilers at this point. It's like, okay.
Yeah. I know. We want to. I know. Do we cut that out? Do you cut up this podcast?
Oh, I do edit, but I don't think we went into too much detail.
I don't think we went too far.
That sounds very interesting, though, and the way that you're describing it sounds like there may be scenarios that could possibly be plausible in real life because of just how you explained it. Of like, I hope that this would never happen, but you're almost coming off like something like this could really happen, and it's unfortunate that we're kind of painting the picture.
Well, yeah. Well, okay, so Terralingua is where we shot this.
Okay.
It's an old mining town, I think about 12 miles from the Mexican border in Texas.
Okay.
And John Thaddeus, our writer John Thaddeus, and our director Sean Patrick Flannery created this world and this story based on an old mining town, and people were going crazy from the mercury poisoning. And so it's a story that it could happen in real life, but I just hope it never does. And when you see the movie, you'll understand why.
No, I can get that. Especially with a lot of the movies that are coming out, or even TV shows now. It's like, wow, like last night I was watching a documentary which is actually about a real situation in Pittsburgh, PA, and the nuclear scare. And it's like, they're talking about the government not necessarily covering things up, but they were really downplaying things. And you're like, the only thing I could think to myself is, wow, like, this kind of thing really happens in scary situations. And I'm not saying that, you know, the movie we're talking about with Frank and Penelope and their escalating situation, you know, has happened or is a reality set somewhere. But if you think deeper, these things can happen.
I never thought I'd ever be on an interview talking about how this could happen in real life, to be honest. And when you see my character's evolution, it is just bonkers. I mean, yeah, no. But it was so fun to shoot too, because it is so gritty, and there's emotional scenes and really challenging scenes, and you know, having to use a prop gun on set is just in itself so nerve-wracking that you really get into it. And being in this town, in this location, you get into the story, and I was super into it. There's no distractions there because there's one coffee shop in the town and one grocery store that we found in our last week of filming, and we had no idea there was even a grocery store in town, and 2 restaurants. So, you know, I was so in it. I was so into the story, into this film, into shooting it. It was a blast.
So was it nerve-wracking that you had to worry about food, or is that something that you didn't have to really worry about? The casting took care of that, things like that? Because you said, you know, one grocery store in the town that you found later on, a couple restaurants, so you're very limited on options, it sounded like.
Yes, but no, the production took care of us. We were not, you know, you could always just go to set, and this town is so small that set was never very far away.
It literally was the town.
It literally was the town. I think the locals were all part of the crew at some point. They were all in on it. I don't know. It was great. We got to know some locals, and there was this little local jewelry store right next to the one coffee shop, and blown glass and things like that. So we had fun exploring everything this town had to offer. I think I literally did explore everything that Terlingua has to offer.
I was just gonna ask you that. So you guys are staying there, filming. Obviously, you're there for extended periods of time. Like, you know, it sounds like this town is very small. You know, homey town. Not a lot of things to do, so you basically are going out and exploring the town, seeing, you know, what the town has to offer, more than just filming each day. Yeah, because, I mean, I wasn't filming every day. I had some days off, and I was still in a summer class when we were filming. Also, okay, Terlingua, that is Arizona level heat. We were filming in July. Oh, no.
And it was 110 degrees, so they know, people in Terlingua know Arizona heat, and people I'm sure in Texas. But in this town, it was hot. But yeah, we did explore a little bit. There's not much to do. I was in a class, that kept me busy on my days off. Any auditions that came in also, and hanging out with the cast and crew was really fun. You just get to know people so well in a scenario like that, where you're there with 8 other castmates and you're all staying at the same hotel that's just you. So we had fun. We had a lot of fun. I really liked the castmates too. I really enjoyed working with everybody. We all became buddies. I was just in LA about a week and a half ago, and I got to catch up with everybody because they're all LA based.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Well, you said that you enjoyed working, and Kevin Dillion was your father. I thoroughly enjoy his work. The brother on Entourage, that's where I initially discovered him, and that his role there, awesome, playing drama. I don't know. Can you tell me a little bit about, you know, what the dynamic was working with him, having, you know, experiences, especially him being... it looks like actually you have quite a few big names on this project. But working with him, you know, what was that like?
That was so fun. Kevin Dillion is just such a nice, grounded, and fun human being. And he was there for a couple weeks of shooting, and he plays the sheriff, who's my dad. And a lot of our scenes, I was separated from him, and I'm so bad with spoilers. I'm trying so hard not to just tell you the entire plot. It comes out in 15 days? It's fine. But he was really fun to work with. You know, we had these crazy monsoon storms, unlike anything I've ever experienced, and lightning was striking literally feet from where our trailers were. And so it was absolutely terrifying. But we were all out there. We were taking pictures and then taking selfies, and Kevin was out there. We were all taking selfies, trying to get lightning strikes on camera, and with these crazy storms in the background. And then we had a scene together near the end film, and he was just really, really nice, and he's a really good actor. I mean, he's really fun to work with because he's just there, he's down to work, and he's good at what he does.
So he's got the actor's work ethic, is what you're saying.
Yeah,
that's
yeah,
awesome.
he does, because, you know, when you're out in 110 degree heat with blood all over your face and am I giving so much away right now? Blood, sticky fake blood all over everywhere, and it's hard to describe the fake set blood too, but it was just so sticky. It was like having
you bring that up, right? How long do you have to be in like makeup or something along those lines to like really get the effect? Now you're detailing it like you're basically covered. So I'm assuming that like the artist is, I don't know, strategically or not strategically, placing blood in certain areas, but you're making it sound like it is, like you said, strawberry jam. How long does it take to do something like that? Like, how long do you have to be in makeup for them to cover you in blood?
Well, yeah, we weren't fully drenched, but it was strategic, like you're saying.
Yeah.
It's so interesting because it was my first time having strategically placed blood on me. But the first time we got in the blood, it took probably a couple hours.
Oh, wow.
Because it was getting the hang of it and detailing it on certain places, and also like Sean Patrick Flannery had a really distinct vision of where he wanted the blood and what it should look like, and that played a huge role in the blood placement, especially on me. And so it wasn't just throw as much blood as you can. He gave notes, so that's why it took a couple hours to maybe a few hours the first time. But then I actually had fun with the blood because I took a few time-lapse videos because the makeup artists are so great, and we had to do it many times. And so by the end of it, we were getting it done in about an hour, and I had cool time-lapse videos and I posted those. But yeah, there was one day I had to stay in that blood for, I swear, 15 hours.
Oh, wow.
And I had a scene in the morning and then a whole day break, and we were supposed to go shoot a scene at night. And the night shoots, sometimes went till 2 a.m. So I was in that blood. I was in that blood a long time. But it was really cool. I enjoyed it.
So at the end of the day, you're done shooting. Are you then like just taking it off, or are they asking you to like keep it on just in case if you have to shoot the next day, morning, or like? No.
We always took it off. You can't sleep in that. No. Oh my gosh, like it is crazy. You have like chunky things all over your face, and it's like, I think if I slept in that, I would just have a million pimples on my face.
Oh my gosh, so it's that bad. So you think it's bad for your skin over an extended period of time, maybe?
Maybe if you're sleeping in it, but I think I don't think anybody would sleep in that. But yeah, no, it's not bad for it. I think it's meant for your skin.
Sorry. I ask all the weird questions. Like I
really enjoy these questions. I haven't talked about this at all.
Yeah, I'm just so curious about like how it works, right? Like how is something functioning? So I always try to get like a little deeper as to, okay, well, you're in makeup, but what are they doing? Why are they doing it? And like you said, it was strategic in how they placed it, and Sean Patrick Flannery had this vision. Mm-hmm. So while you guys are obviously doing your scenes, he's probably conveying that too, since he directed this also, I think, right? Yeah. So if he's trying like, so is he taking you off to the side and then like conveying some of the vision that he sees, and how well do you feel like you interpret it based on the way he's describing it?
He always had such a clear idea, and
really, okay.
Yeah, he cast everybody so specifically, and I know that this was, this is his directorial debut, and he encompasses all of the aspects of a director, because he not only is focused on the shot and how the camera work looks and the framing, but he's really focused on the acting, because that's his background. He's such a great actor. So, we'd go in with our take of the scene, we'd do it, maybe he'd give notes, maybe he wanted to see where you went with it, but he always had a vision in his head. And so there was not one moment where you'd see Sean being like, okay, what should we do now? He just always knew exactly what he was doing. It was crazy, because there's always some moments where I feel like you'll see people debating over props, and maybe it's because we don't see those moments as actors as much. We're, you know, sitting back and focusing on the next take. But I never saw one moment where Sean was like, okay, what do I need for this? He just would go in and tell you.
Nice. And then he's obviously painting that picture clearly for you, and you're like, okay, I get it.
Yeah, and with every little thing, when it comes to props, the blood, the location. But yeah, I loved when he came in and gave notes on the blood on my face. There's this one image, I feel like I'm not giving it away because it's out there now. It's like one image that they've been putting on some of the teasers where I have all this blood on my face, and I knew he wanted it, you know, bloody. So I kept asking the makeup artist to put more eye blood in my eye. And I really liked the way it looked. I thought it looked really cool and gritty.
Yeah,
so I kept asking her for more eye blood, and he was okay with that. So
nice.
We got our input in there too.
Well, you bring that up, input, and then you also talked about this is his director debut.
Mm-hmm.
You've done some of your own projects, so you want to kind of go into that a little bit?
Sure, yeah. I started to be interested in getting behind the camera when I was 17. I was working on a show in Vancouver, a Netflix show called Some Assembly Required, and it was a kids show. And I was always really drawn to being behind the camera, and I would try to see if I could write scenes sometimes, or think about what the director's doing, and I shadow directors after the fact. But my co-star and I, we took a short film that we had written for us, and we produced it. And that was my first little jump into filmmaking. We had a long weekend off the show, and so we took the 3 days and we went and filmed the short film, and we started it and produced it. And so from there we took that to the Cannes Short Corner, to this Canadian short film competition in Cannes, and had the best time. And we were just kids, but we went to the market and saw people selling features, and then we went to some premieres, and we just explored like crazy. And that's when I think I realized, okay, I really want to be behind the camera as well. And so instead of doing a proper film school, I found a topic. I heard a story from a woman and found this topic, traumatic brain injuries as it relates to domestic violence. So concussions that women sustain. And I was shocked and didn't know why nobody was talking about this or doing anything. So I said, okay, I want to do a documentary feature on this and make that my film school, essentially. And so I spent 4 years filming and editing and making this feature-length documentary. So I went around to festivals with that, and we won a few awards, and that's still a huge passion project of mine. I kind of want to always continue pushing that topic and that documentary, and then keep doing docs. But then more recently, I've done 2 short films in the past year and a half, both of which are just being finished up, and one's called Dead End and one is called Jane. And Jane we just finished literally last week, and that is my latest directorial project. And so I'm constantly working on behind, like, my projects where I'm behind the camera as well.
Do you feel that there's a huge difference being in front versus behind the camera?
There is and there isn't. I mean, both are, I feel, high pressure but extremely fun situations. Your people are relying on you either way in a big capacity. But when you're an actor, you come onto a set, you have your lines, you have your ideas, and you get your few takes, and you show up, do your job, and then you go home, and then it's done. You're done with the project until it comes out, or it's coming out and you're promoting it. But with directing and with being behind the camera, you're there from the idea all the way until the credits are put on at the very end. And so I think that's the biggest difference to me, is that you're seeing something all the way through, rather than showing up and being in your trailer, going on set, doing your lines, going back in your trailer, back and forth, home. And with directing, it's just like, you're there all the time. You're thinking about it all the time. And until that last little logo is on the last credit, in scrolling credits, you're not done. And so that's where I find the big differences in the process and how long you're working on a project and how much energy and time you're putting into it.
Wow. And just so the listeners know, the documentary that you were talking about, This Hits Home, right?
Yes.
Okay.
Maybe for me to not even say the title of the project.
That's okay. So this is obviously pretty groundbreaking and honestly work that is being vocalized even to this day, especially with a lot of stuff that's, in the news right now, pertaining to Hollywood and domestic violence. So I would definitely, I'm going to actually go check that out. Where can we find that?
So right now we're still at festivals. We just did Japan International.
Okay. And
then hopefully coming to a streamer near you, but it will be online for everybody to watch within this year.
Oh, nice. Awesome. Well, at the end of each show, we have a few questions that we ask. Pretty similar to the left field of questions that I have been asking. These are a little bit more oddball. Feel free, if you're not really like the question or whatever, just let me know. Do you have a guilty pleasure at all?
A guilty pleasure? Yeah. Who doesn't? The Bachelorette.
Yeah.
I mean, that's one of them. I don't really think ice cream counts. I'm not really guilty about ice cream. Yeah, I would say The Bachelorette. That's something that,
You keep that on the down low.
Yeah, I don't usually broadcast. Actually, if I'm talking with my friends, I am broadcasting. I am saying, you guys didn't see this episode. I'm actually making them feel guilty for not watching it.
Yeah.
But yeah, no, that's not something that I go around broadcasting that I watch all the time. But I have seen. And okay, what's even more guilty is Bachelor in Paradise, if we're being honest. That is a way more guilty pleasure.
That's hilarious. Yeah, no, I can definitely see, because there is it's either you're a huge fan of it or you're the other people.
Yeah.
There's never like a really in between, like someone just casually watches that show. That's not how it works. Anybody that I know that watches The Bachelor, like they are deep in the thick of it.
Oh yeah.
Along with the cast and crew.
You don't even miss a minute of it. You go to do something, you're pausing it.
Yeah.
You're walking to the kitchen, you're getting what you need, and then you're coming back and unpausing it. You're not walking to the kitchen during mid-show. Yeah.
Throughout your experiences acting and just life in general, has there been a piece of information that you've learned that you feel should be illegal to know?
Piece of information that I feel should be illegal to know throughout my career,
like or life in general. Yeah, I mean,
should be illegal to know. No. Knowledge is power. We should know everything.
For example, we talked to one actress, and she was saying that if you do have a handicap plate, you literally can park wherever you want in LA without getting a ticket. We said that, like, they just little things. I'm not saying to do anything illegal.
That actually should be illegal, though. That is like taking it very literally because it should be illegal to know that. I don't know if there's anything I feel that should be illegal to know. I'm sure I'll come up with something brilliant after we hang up, but that should be illegal to know.
That's okay. Is there a life hack or something that you do that people do the hard way or differently than you?
A life hack.
Or just something that you do that you find that everybody else does it the wrong way.
These are hard questions, Mark. These are like very... A life hack. I think cooking an egg.
You know, cooking an egg can be very easy or very difficult.
I find I do it the right way, to be honest. So, anybody who doesn't do it like this maybe does it the wrong way. I have a little pan. You get the little egg pan. And if you don't have a little egg pan, you're obviously doing it wrong. And you crack the egg straight into the little egg pan when it's already like preheated with oil, olive oil. And then you wait for it to just bubble a little bit. Then you take a butter knife and flip it in the little egg pan. And I think the key to this is the little egg pan. So if you don't have a little egg pan, you're doing it wrong. So there's one thing. Cooking an egg.
So is it just like one egg size?
Mm-hmm. It's one egg size. Do you have one of these?
No, I don't think so. But no. I do have like a little pan that would like we make cookie. You can make like an individual cookie in.
Oh, okay, I've seen those. The little pizza cookie type things.
Yeah.
Yeah, but this is just a little pan for your stovetop that's this big. Yeah. So I cook eggs. There's my life hack. Get a tiny egg pan.
Is there any particular time frame for you like cracking it into it, then flipping it, and then it being done?
You really get the flow of it once you have practiced. Practice makes perfect. But I make eggs every day. Eggs are my favorite food, I think. Eggs are my favorite food, I know. No, I love eggs. So you have to wait for it the pan to preheat with the oil for about a minute, and then you crack it straight in. And I crack it on the countertop, which always leaves egg residue on the countertop, but then you clean it up. But you can't crack it on the pan. I feel like it's too abrasive for the eggshell. And then you put it in. People who are gonna listen to this will think I am a freak. And then you wait for it to just start to bubble. You can't let it cook too much on the underside, or else the yolk is no longer runny. And I like my yolk is very runny. And then like just really in one swift motion, get the butter knife under there, flip it, and then wait 30 seconds because the pan is already too hot at that point, and then you're done.
See, this almost seems like something illegal to know also.
Okay, there you go. There's my answer. Is this illegal to know?
Because, I mean, you've found a way to perfect cooking an individual egg.
Yeah.
I don't think people would find this crazy. Honestly, you would be surprised at how many people, they'll listen to a podcast and be like, I want to try that now. It's something different.
I hope people start tagging me in pictures of eggs and perfect this egg, the perfect egg in the teeny pan, because it is life changing to get a little pan like that.
Well, you bring that up. Then we're at the end of the show. If you could tell us where people can tag you with the eggs, and just where can we find you, and if you have anything else coming up.
Well, I love that transition. It's at Sydney Scotia, and Sydney like Sydney, Australia, Scotia like Nova Scotia. And I do have music coming out. I came out with a single in April called Don't Get So Close, and it's poppy music. And then on May 27th, I have a little pop punk track coming out called Bad Company on Spotify, Apple Music, Amazon Music, wherever you get your music. And those are some recent projects.
All right. Well, I greatly appreciate that you came on. On that note, Amigos out.
This has been the Amigos PC. Make sure to like, subscribe, and review us on all your podcasting platforms. And visit us at amigospc.net. Get our entire library of content and Amigos merch. Till next time, adios.